Welcome back to The Count. We're counting down the major stories of the week. I'm Lidia Curanaj. Now to story number 3 on our countdown. File fallout, the Jeffrey Epstein flap cascading. FBI Director Dan Bongino and Attorney General Pam Bondi allegedly clashing over the handling of the Epstein documents and the decision to withhold records from the sex trafficking investigation. There were reports this week that Bongino was even threatening to leave the Bureau if Bondi stayed on to do her job, as well as the FBI Director Patel allegedly wanted Bondi gone and would consider leaving if Bongino did. The White House slamming those reports as baseless. And just a short time ago, Patel also posting to X that the conspiracy theories just aren't true, never have been. It's an honor to serve the president and the United States, and I'll continue to do so for as long as he calls on me. I'd like to welcome in retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. So this just came in now that we just saw a short time ago. President Trump, he's not happy about all of this kind of infighting. He's questioning why people were giving, quote, publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. He also wrote in a Truth Social post a short time ago, let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. That's what she's looking into. What do you think about the president? And he said, what's going on with my boys and in some cases, gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what is happening. Megyn Kelly also, she just came out and was criticizing Pam Bondi. What do you think about all the hits Pam Bondi is facing regarding the Epstein files? Her saying that there isn't an official list.
Well, it's a little bizarre to me because as the AG, she would have been privy to all that information, and so would her deputy, the Deputy Attorney General, the DAG. And the DAG came out with a statement also on X and said that he was in negotiations with the FBI, with the Deputy Director, and with the Director, Patel and Bongino, and that they all signed off on the statement that went out regarding the so-called non-list. And so it's bizarre now that they're sniping back and forth at each other when all of them should have access to all of that file. So if there is in fact a list, they've all seen it. And if there's not a list, they've also seen a file that doesn't contain a list. So it's really bizarre that you have all these people fighting about stuff that they've all had access to. So they've all should have been seeing the same information. Nobody has greater access than any of the others. So, you know, it's really a mystery on why they're such disagreement over this. And I know that Trump likes to, you know, his team to talk with one voice, and it doesn't look good for his team right now.
What do you think about all this controversy surrounding the video of the jail cell? There's a minute missing. You know, people are saying, well, what is Ghislaine Maxwell? What is she in prison for? You know, all these, you know, security failures when it comes to Epstein, that he shouldn't have been able to kill himself. He was alone for too long. So what are your thoughts on all of the conspiracy theories? Do you believe what the Department of Justice is saying, that there is no official list and that Jeffrey Epstein did indeed kill himself?
Well, Lydia, I can tell you that in 1990, I put a cooperating witness into that same prison, the MCC in downtown Manhattan, and he was a gang member, and he after very months of interrogation, he decided to plead guilty and cooperate with us. We put him in 9 South, which is the protective unit there, a suicide watch unit, and he killed himself. This was a major piece of my case, and he was allowed to hang himself in his jail cell in 9 South, the same unit that Epstein killed himself in. I tend to think, and I could be wrong, but I tend to think that there is no list, because if there was a list, Jeffrey Epstein was a snake and a rat. He would have used that to the best of his ability. He would have leveraged that, and he would have bargained with his lawyers or Ghislaine to release that list if he was going to be in jail. And I think that he would have used that right to the end. And he probably, even after he killed himself, if he did kill himself, he probably would have had them publish that list. I just don't see him being a noble guy and going to his grave without taking that last shot at publishing that list. And if it was in it, obviously it's something that would have been in his possession or his lawyer's possession or Ghislaine's possession at that point in time. And I don't see him as the kind of guy who just would have went out in the noble way and protected all those people.
Right. I think where Pam Bondi, the issue surrounding it is that in February, Pam Bondi kind of intimated that there was a list, but she said there was evidence on her desk and she was going to go through all of the files. And she's now taking so many hits. Clearly, Trump once again publicly supporting her. Do you think that'll quell all of the all the questions kind of surrounding Pam Bondi and all these hits that she's taking. He just posted to Truth Social just a short time ago, once again supporting Pam Bondi. What do you think?
Yeah, I think she'll survive it, but I don't think it'll quell much of the conspiracy theories and things like that. I think there are names in there. I don't think there's a master list, but I think there's names of individuals, of powerful individuals, like a member of the royal family, that were given by particular witnesses or victims. And so they probably they pulled names from different statements and things. So there's probably but it wasn't like Epstein was keeping a master blackmail list. I think there's some names that were mentioned in there. But again, you have defamation laws in this country. You can't just publish this stuff without knowing whether it was true or not. And then you have to go through the process of proving it or disproving it. And so I think there's names in that file, but I think they're holding back on those names. I don't think it's a master list. But I think that these conspiracy theories will continue because people are so invested in them. You can see it online. You can see how crazy it makes people. And so I think people will still, be taking shots at her, but I think she'll survive because I think that Trump will back her. The hard part is that they can't be all that transparent because they could face defamation allegations if they publish stuff that's basically unsubstantiated.
Yeah, I think people just want, accountability. I think that at the end of the day, Absolutely. They just want somebody to be. And when you're talking about children and sex trafficking, it's like a gut punch. But I've interviewed Pam Bondi multiple times, and obviously I trust President Trump. So if he's saying she's fantastic, clearly she's an amazing person. So we'll just see how this all plays out. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.